Welcome to Waiting on the Trade, a comics book club for people who can't keep up with monthly comics. I'm Matt Ledger.
I'm Patrick Fitzgerald Flock.
And I'm Catherine Prince.
You sound so unsure, Pat.
I'm just bracing. I'm bracing.
This month, we're talking about My Boyfriend is a Bear, an absurdly delightful rom-com from writer Pamela Ribon and artist Kat Ferris. Now, in case you need a refresher, My Boyfriend is a Bear is the story of Nora, a young woman who has dated just far too many awful boyfriends, and her new romantic partner, an American black bear. Bear is the best boyfriend Nora has ever had, and so the two of them engage in a wonderful whirlwind romance. However, their relationship is not without its challenges, including the approach of hibernation season.
Wow, did you write that yourself or did you pull it from ad copy for this comic?
I always write them myself, baby.
That was good.
Thanks. I used to
I'd
be a
hire you.
professional.
Yeah, me too.
So, before we get into all the adjectives in that introduction that Pat disagrees with, Kat, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
How did you decide that you wanted to talk about this comic?
It was 2 weeks ago, and you told me I had to pick a comic, so I went downstairs and stood in front of your bookshelf, and I think I picked a few out and then read through just this one, and I was like, nah, we're going to do this one because it's fun.
A solid selection of method of choosing.
Yeah. I had another one in the running, but it was kind of sad, so we can do that some other time when we want to get sad.
Yeah, were you just in a fun rom-com-y mood? Is there something?
Well, I just don't want to be typecast.
Sure, yeah. Don't want to just read sad books for sad girls. I get it.
I mean, yeah, who isn't in a fun rom-com-y mood now and then?
So this is a book that I think I had on my radar since 2018, and I was going back through some blog posts because this book I've actually had on the blog 3 times in
different
ways, not ever as a main feature, but just kind of asides in different posts.
And really, I try to not pick books that you put in your blog because I figure you've already talked about them.
I haven't done this one in depth. It was always just either hey, this is on my list to read, or a hey, I got this, so I am gonna read it, that sort of thing. But I was reading the one about hey, this is on my list to read, and apparently we found this in a bookstore in Portland when we were there, and you were like, look at this, it looks cute, and I was like, I already knew about that. I'm so knowledgeable about comics, and scored some boyfriend points I think on that one, but
Kat, do you confirm that he scored points for that?
Yeah, when I was a little girl, my daddy was like, make sure you marry a man who is knowledgeable about comics. And then I did.
Listen, I made dinner tonight. I paid the bills. I don't know what you want from me. Anyways.
Knowledgeable about comics.
Yeah.
Checked box.
Did it. Anyways, didn't actually get the book until Christmas 2020. And then, so that would have been when we were in Minnesota. And so that probably would have been the first time that we both actually read it. So there's that. Nice.
I literally do not even remember seeing it in Portland.
I know. I mean, I didn't either, honestly, but it's detailed for all time on the blog now, or at least until the server goes down or I decide to stop hosting the website. So,
well, kudos.
Yeah. Matt, when's the first time you read the comic?
Oh, 2 days ago.
And how did you feel about it?
I think the illustrations are very cute. Some of the things that happen, the concept is creepy to me. It's disturbing.
I really did love getting the text from you that was does this comic condone bestiality, essentially?
And the answer is, yeah, kinda.
Not really, though.
How, Matt? How not really?
Okay, so here's what happened, actually. If we circle back to Kat was gonna pick a comic for the podcast 2 weeks ago. Kat was like, hey, I'm between these ones and I'm thinking about My Boyfriend is a Bear. Do you think Pat would like that? And I was like, yeah, I think Pat would like that. And then I was reading it, and then I was doing a little bit of research, and I stumbled upon the Goodreads page for My Boyfriend is a Bear, which I don't typically go to, but I did go to for this one because I was I wonder what people are saying about this comic. There are 2 distinct lanes of Goodreads reviews for this comic, and I think they are the 2 distinct lanes that we will fall into in our discussion also. There is the lane of, oh, it's a cute rom-com. He's a bear. Doesn't need to make sense. I'm going with it. It's so wholesome. Aw, he says gra a lot. He likes her cat. Like, that sort of thing. He juggles. Great. Love it.
Mm.
How wholesome and refreshing that Nora finds a good boyfriend. He just happens to be a 500-pound American black bear. The other lane is the lane you're in, Pat, where there's people who just are like, I don't, like, this doesn't work for me. I don't like it. Like, how does it work? He's a bear. Like, and then all the way down to, like, does this comic condone bestiality?
It does, though. There's no reason. Like, I've posted the 2 things that are explicitly about she likes having sex with bear. That doesn't it
No,
not,
you
that
don't.
not
No.
being
There
there.
was only one thing. She just likes not wearing pants.
Yeah,
And
the
then
bear
in
is okay with that.
parentheses, yeah,
Oh.
with like this comic didn't need it. Like without those 2 or maybe 3 instances.
So you just want to assume that it's a completely platonic romance?
Yes,
There's
yes,
rose petals on the
Catherine.
cover. I don't know what you're.
But why though? It's just a comic.
Okay, can I? So Matt showed me your thing that was basically a verbatim of the the Goodreads post he read, and I said, wow, my read is, I bet that the author was just like, I know they live in LA, and she's probably just really tired of the dating scene with all these egotistical like LA guys talking about themselves and just being kind of douchey, and she had a fantasy about something simple and wholesome, so she made it about a bear.
But that's
And
fine. Then
Matt said like
don't include mating season was fun. That's
said
what I'm saying.
he read an interview with the author, and that is exactly the circumstance. She was just tired of how disappointing real dudes were.
But then
Like,
don't
maybe she had
include
to-
having sex with the bear is fun. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't cross the line that makes it creepy.
Well, that's not a boyfriend. That's a friend. Then it would be called My Platonic Friend is a Bear.
my friend that lives with me that is male is also a bear.
They would be shaking hands on the cover.
I'm fine with it being completely like it doesn't need to be on the page.
It isn't ever shown.
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
You guys
there's some
understand why
bear-on-bear
that is
action
why
shown.
that would be upsetting, right? You understand
No,
why
'cause, like,
it is.
it's a comic. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's like you're like making the argument that Grand Theft Auto causes kids to go out and like shoot up
No,
places.
I'm not.
Like, no
I'm
one's
saying
gonna go
that
have
allegory
sex
works,
with a
Matt.
bear after this.
The tone is all over the place. The bear is treated as like it has human intelligence in some scenes, and in other scenes he's scaring people at the mall and people on the trail run away from him because he's a bear. It's
Well, he
just
can still have human intelligence while he scares people.
it's just
Humans do that.
Okay, yeah, you want to know what that's like? Just go walk around outside, but don't swing your arms when you walk. People will look at you. They'll be like, "Oh, there's something wrong with that one."
It's true. They do it all the time. When Cat does it, they just keep looking at her.
I don't like
Not the bear's fault.
the fact that okay, so she's dating Bear, but then there's also like the quote unquote cute scenes when he's playing around and wrestling with her cat. And they make a big thing about, oh, isn't that fun that they have a close relation? Him and the cat are friends and they play. Where's the line between? I posted the pic where they're all snuggling together. That creeps me out now because she's snuggling her cat, but she's also got a bear. Like, where's the line between her relationship and her cat and the relationship with the bear?
Well, the
You're
bear's not a
looking for
pet. The bear's a
rules?
boyfriend.
You're looking for rules where rules don't exist, and I think that's what's tripping you up. And I should have thought of it before I went on the Goodreads page. I think is where I'm at, because like when I went on the Goodreads page and I saw people who were falling into that lane of like, and the other thing you had mentioned was you were like, is the bear a metaphor? Is there something I'm like not seeing here? And like that is also verbatim like that Goodreads.
Well, that's what I
lane
like.
of,
If there were an allegory, if it turned out at the end that bear wasn't a bear, it was a big dude from Pakistan, or something like the fact that it was Yeah, that it would
The
be.
way he just like unzips a costume and is like, I know you thought you were dating an
No,
American
there are
black
pl-
man,
okay.
but I'm a big dude from Pakistan.
No, it wouldn't. It would be that the whole thing was that it wasn't a bear. People weren't accepting him because she was a white woman dating a big Indian guy. And that's where the prejudice was coming from. People were scared because they had prejudice against the foreigner she was dating. There
Yeah,
would be
they're
a
prejudiced
deeper
against
meaning
bear.
to it. But now this is just a nonsense story about a woman having sex with a bear.
I really want to watch Bridget Jones' Diary with you. Like, where's the deeper meaning? Who are these men?
Also, the sex is never shown, and it's only mentioned a few times. It's mostly
only
not
hinted
about a
at.
woman having
Yeah,
sex.
that's
with a
all
bear.
I'm saying is get rid of that, and I wouldn't have as much a problem with it.
But it's there for a reason. Like, it's a
Why?
real
What's the
boyfriend-girlfriend
reason?
relationship. Otherwise, it is my platonic friend as a bear.
But you do. Okay, you guys understand basically having sex with an animal is wrong, right?
Yeah,
Like there
I
is no
also
consent
understand
there.
that shooting someone and stealing their car is wrong, but I play
Yeah,
video
that's not what
games.
I'm saying.
It's the same thing.
In this world, there are normal animals, and bear is the only one that has. Like, I don't understand. It's a weird
There is,
fucking
like-
premise for a story.
Look at the
And there is a
Scrabble
creepy
panel.
nature to it.
There is consent there. Gra. He's like, boobs. And she says,
Yes,
bear.
that's
And
how
he
he
says,
says, yes.
gra. And holds out his paw. And she's like, okay,
It's
that's consent.
creepy.
So in the Disney universe, Pat, Pluto is a dog and Goofy is a dog. Are you a person who still like needs to square that circle?
There is
bothers
nothing
me.
established in this universe other than bear. Like, bear is a bear. They establish it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bear. Okay,
Sure.
so
A human woman having sex with him is wrong. Are you saying the ethics of that world is not the same as ours?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So it's the bestiality universe.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
I
the
am.
ethics are the same. I would choose bear over that douchey guy she works with. So one of the questions I had is like, what would you categorize this as? Like, you could say it's a rom-com, but is it magical realism? Is it absurdism? I feel like we could
Call it
go a little
slash
farther.
fiction.
Slash fiction?
Kind of slash fiction, actually. Well, no.
What's slash fiction? I don't know that one.
Pat, you want to explain slash fiction?
No, I don't want to explain slash.
Romantic or sexual relationships between fictional characters of the same sex.
Yeah.
No,
really.
bear's a
No,
male.
so it's not quite that.
Not quite.
But it's like it's in the like weird sexual fan fiction
Oh, as
territory.
in male/male pairings. Okay. Yeah, maybe then. Girl/bear.
Slash pairing.
So I have a question for you, Pat.
Okay.
Did you have to read The Metamorphosis in high school by Kafka?
Yes.
Wait, hold on. You did? I didn't.
Oh,
Well, I
maybe.
have read it.
Oh, okay. I haven't
Okay,
read it.
just for fun, whatever. If you read it, were you one of the people who just like accepts that Gregor Samsa it just wakes up and he's a bug, or were you like, what? No, there's a metaphor here. What does it mean? Because I feel like there's two interpretations for that too. And if you're like, yeah, he's a bug, versus no, this is an allegory.
I'm a fan of allegories myself.
Okay, so you're not of the Gregor Samsa is a bug interpretation.
Correct.
Ha, that makes sense. Because I think if you are one of the people who's like, yes, obviously he just woke up and he was a bug, then this would make sense to you. And then if you're like, no, there's a deeper meaning here and it's an allegory for something, then you look for that here.
I just wanted to justify a human woman having sex with an animal.
But that was such a small part of the story. Like the
You just
rest
said
of
that
it
it's
is
a big deal about them having that intimate of a relationship for you. So you
Well, I
can't have
mean-
it both ways, Kat. It's either important or it's not.
I don't think it's like at the forefront of the story. It's there just to establish that he is a real boyfriend and he's not just her bear roommate.
You could
I will
have
also say
intimacy
that you
without
could have
physical
a
intimacy.
I was gonna say you could have a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and not have sex. That is the thing that canon does happen.
Yeah, that's true. Although she is. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. That's not what she.
Ah,
That's not what
It's-
she seems to be looking
I was gonna
for.
say it's not the kind of comic
Certainly
we're
not.
reading. It does exist. Just want to put that out there.
I don't know. Also, Nora is just sad altogether.
I mean, I think
I
that's
found
part
her
of
really
the,
relatable.
Yeah, that's part of the
actually.
arc of the book. Actually, I think
Fuck
we're
you.
like,
Cass, she works for a scam company.
Yeah, that was another one of my questions. Is that real? Is that a real thing?
I mean, I'm sure there are similar companies.
Yeah, maybe not to the same extreme, but definitely.
I don't know, probably close.
My
But the
biggest
fact that-
problem is that she kept that job for most
That's
of
what
this
I'm saying.
stupid
Like,
book.
no one's forcing her to go to this horrible job that is manipulating people who are old and infirm. Like, that's her choice. She could get another job.
I mean, she does, right? Like that's the
Yeah,
arc in the
Etsy,
book.
an Etsy shop for bear
For bears. Yeah.
Yeah, because other people also have bears. I don't know. There are edges of it that don't work, Pat. I'm on your side for
Oh,
sure.
okay. All right.
But I
Maybe
will
they
say
do. I
that
mean, the fires are pushing them into the
there's
rest of the.
more and more the bears are coming down from the mountains and realizing that they must mate with the humans to survive.
Oh, my God.
That's not what it's about.
I understand that's not what it's about. I will say the rules of it are ill-defined. I'm on Pat's side for that part of the point. I don't think it particularly matters because I don't think the rules of it being defined are what it's about. I will also say to the point of the is it or is it not a metaphor part of the discussion. Reading that interview, which I will put in the show notes, I saved it off when I was doing my research and my notes. Like the premise of Bear is kind of inspired by the boyfriend to whom Pamela Ribben dedicates the book in the front. Like
You
she
opened
talks
up
about-
that packet of it's, and that was it for me.
and she references that same moment in the interview actually too, where it's like he just like was really hairy and a big guy, and like he hung his coat on a tree branch one day, and I was like, huh, he could totally just be like a guy who secretly goes off and is a bear.
It
And
really
that was kinda
feels
like-
like she wrote the fantasy of what if
Yeah, I mean,
he was
Pat, like,
actually a bear.
I think it was more of a daydream that she turned into a story
Yeah, kind
after
of,
a
right?
bad
Like,
date or something.
just like a weird. I mean, and she was talking about how it's very directly inspired by like before she met this guy who like she hadn't expected to meet, and she was like kind of not open to the relationship, but then like she went for it the same way that Nora like goes for the relationship with the bear. She just dated like a string of people, like losers, essentially, like people that she didn't want to have been dating, and like it's the same thing as that montage that's near the front of the book too, where it's like douchebags I've dated, right? Like, so it is inspired by real life and kind of a metaphor for the thing that she experienced, but also there's a bear, and the metaphor definitely breaks down at some point.
It's just it actively decides not to make it better at every turn. It's just like no, it is what it appears to be.
So there was another thing in your text that Matt showed me that was talking about like what level of anthropomorphization makes an animal romance acceptable.
Oh man, here
Yeah.
comes the video
There we
presentation.
go.
So I'm going to send you an 11-minute video or
Not 11 minutes, an 11
11
second
minutes.
video.
Jesus.
11 seconds.
Yeah, an 11-second video clip, and then I want you to watch it, and then I will describe it for podcast listeners at home, and then we will discuss.
Team Jacob.
Just click on that.
I mean, if we're gonna do Team Edward, Team Jacob, it's Team Jacob 100%, by the way, but that's a different podcast.
Oh,
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
All right, ready? Play the clip. I'll play it with my microphone so we can hear it.
Am I supposed to guess when they become attractive? Is that what it is?
Yeah, tell me when
think-
Yeah, just go back through and then pause it when you think it's like an acceptable level of
I was gonna say, I think
anthropomorphization
what we're
has
actually
been
looking
passed.
for is when do you cross the line?
Yeah, so this is a if you guys remember the Animorphs books, this is the Rachel morphs into a bear flip book from Animorphs number 7. And like if you say like, oh, a certain amount of anthropomorphization needs to happen, like, okay, where on this scale would that
At
be?
which of the 11 seconds in the video is it acceptable to date and have sex with this bear?
When are
You
you suddenly
guys-
like, oh, this
you guys
blonde lady's
know-
a bear?
You guys know what I mean when I say that. Don't be
Well-
purposely obtuse. Come
What?
on.
What's an
On my
example of
podcast,
when?
never.
Like that.
I feel like I need a fourth person because I feel like I'm being ganged up here.
I tried to say there are edges there where I agree with you. I'm
Okay.
trying to walk the middle ground here.
Would it be that like samurai rabbit guy, or is he too much of a rabbit? Those ears need to shrink a little.
It's
We're-
not.
we're ha-
It's
we're
not.
having the-
Anthropomorphism isn't just
We're having
my
the would you
God.
have sex with Beast of Beauty and the Beast conversation.
Right.
aren't we?
yes, yes, Matthew.
You would?
He isn't okay. Oh my God.
Wait, you would?
It's not. It's not about the physical appearance of them. It's their mental capacity. Their
Oh.
actual.
Oh, because he's a man trapped in a beast's body, so that's
Because he's a
that doesn't make
person
sense.
with
Okay.
sentience
Whoa!
and can actually consent.
First of all, this is a fiction story. Second of all, animals do have
So is
sentience.
Beauty and the Beast. You know what I mean? That they have the intelligence to consent. Do I
Oh,
need to go over what consent is with
Well,
you two?
you sent us that panel that shows consent in action.
But is
Ra-
bear
Ra is noted as
bear?
harmless as yes.
So are all bears as like there needs to be a definition. There
No, 'cause
needs
the
to
other-
be the defining that all that or that this bear is a genius mutant bear that has the intelligence of a human. I need that before it, otherwise it's creepy.
Again, you're
He's an
looking
American
for rules
black
where
bear.
none exist.
I
I
what I
understand
am
that.
saying is
It's a
that that's
legitimate
fine.
response.
That's fine. They aren't there, but then no, it's creepy to me. Without it, it comes across as she's having sex with an animal.
I mean, so even if they don't have sex, in your view, she's still having a romantic relationship with a
Yeah, man.
non-able to. So like,
It's
the
a
whole thing
freaking
creepy.
weird story you had me.
So maybe my next question is I don't know how you'll feel about my next question, but I was curious about what your gra sounds like, which is the thing that Bear usually just says in every scene.
Yeah, he says gra, and gra.
Okay, Matt, give me your gra.
My gra, hang on.
Yeah, like as Bear would do.
Yeah, I'm trying to think exactly how.
Get into the zone. Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Sorry.
I feel like I should step away for this.
Yeah, it's fine. We would ask you if you consent or not before we do
I
it.
don't know.
No, just something like that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I listened to blackbird noises yesterday, and that was
That's
pretty
right,
close.
you did listen to Black Bear noises. Just I forgot. Confused the dog for a second.
Okay, what about you, Pat? How do you read it?
No, not gonna do it. I don't deny that it's illustrated that he's cute, that it's a cute bear that does cute things, but at the same time, they're in a sexual relationship with each other, and that's the weird part. It's
Well,
weird.
It's part of the weird part. He plays Scrabble too, Pat. I don't know if you noticed that. He can juggle. He does lots of things that.
Yeah,
bears
did you
don't.
see that he can juggle? Everybody likes someone who can juggle.
And they just need to say that he's an amazing bear. But they don't. He goes back and he
Really,
hibernates
he's
with
an
a bunch of
amazing
other
bear.
bears.
Look how much effort he puts into this relationship. He got a job, a human job. He's a manager of some kind. I don't know.
Right. He points at bar graphs.
Yeah, that was cute.
Bear could do that job.
Okay, well, I had a few notes about the art in here. Some of the things that I thought were really cool is whenever there's a scene that's just bears and no humans, the art style
Watercolor?
changes. Yeah, and it's watercolor, which I thought was really cool. And there's a whole sequence at the end where he's hibernating and he goes and says hi to his bear family, and then they hibernate together. And at the bottom of every page, there's a little watercolor of what Bear is up to while Nora's going on with her life. And that was just really cool. It's mostly just an artist having fun drawing different bears sleeping. Yeah, Pat, I thought you'd like that one.
Everybody
Trying to
poops,
pick out
Pat.
my favorite bits.
That, and then the pictures get smaller as time moves on more and more to show the passage of time increasing, which
Until
I
they
thought
get
was
bigger
pretty
again,
cool.
and then there's some full pages. So, can I give you some behind-the-scenes info on those from my background research?
On the watercolor parts, sure.
Yeah, apparently those exist because Kat Ferris was doing the book and realized that she wouldn't have any like original pages to sell from the book because all of it was digital. So the watercolors were so that Kat Ferris would have some art from the book to be able to sell. Because everyone wants to buy an original of that 3 panels of bears pooping scene that you posted in the Discord chat,
Really?
Pat.
That's so okay.
No,
Not just the one where it's just like he randomly farts in the middle of nothing.
yeah, apparently that's part of why those sequences are watercolors.
So it's like she was selling them as individual panels, or she does like 3 at a time, or
I don't know exactly how the breakup is. Like part of the like comic book market is like artists will sell original art for the books and like usually that goes for a decent amount of money. Exactly how much money depends on like the artist and the book and like even the page. So like because I'm me, most of my experience with that is like I superhero pages and stuff. So like a big splash page of
yeah.
Batman from a well-known artist will go for a lot of money. Like there was an article recently about Jim Lee, who is like right now the publisher of DC Comics and also just like a really well-known popular artist. Artist on Hush Pat is who Jim Lee is.
Okay.
Like basically like doing commissions for like I think like $75,000 or something, like my annual salary. I think, and that's for a
Whoa.
small one.
Good lord.
Yeah, so like stuff like that's very big bucks. I imagine this is less, but still a good amount of money. And like,
I'm
so if
really
you do,
curious.
yeah,
Like, I know you don't have it in front of you, Matt, but like on page 139, that's where they're really tiny to show the passage of time. And like, they're so small, and Bear
yeah, I
is
was
doing
wondering about that
absolutely
too.
nothing, and it's not even recognizable as a bear. It kind of just looks like,
I was
I don't
wondering
know, a
about that too,
lemon.
actually, when I was reading that interview. Is like, so yeah, you've got original art, but like so much of it is like tiny strips. Like, how is that actually broken out? I don't know if I'll be
Most,
able
well,
to dig
most of
anything
them
up.
are. I bet it's page by page just from watching how the brush strokes move across. But
Yeah, it could be.
yeah, that one, like, who's gonna?
It'd
What a silly one to buy the original of, but it would be kind of cool,
be kind of funny though, right? Yeah, so I don't
right? Like, people
know,
would be like, "What is that? How do you get a frame for it?"
right?
Who's that
But like,
sexy bear?
you brought it up, Pat. We were talking about something else. But yeah, I don't know how you break those up to sell them, and like I don't know what exactly the pricing would be and stuff. But like that's something that artists think about in the new like digital age is like how do you actually sell original art? Because like sometimes you don't have original art because it's all digital. So,
Mm.
That's
anyways, that's
cool.
why those exist.
I'm glad that that's like a thing because yeah, I think it really added something. It's just a different world, when the people aren't there, and it looks different. And it's cool.
Yeah, I like that choice too. Like even stylistically, without the behind the scenes knowledge. A return to nature.
Yeah, yeah, and that scene where she's just like, "Oh man, is he cheating on me with bears?" Then she goes and visits, and you see the cave the way she sees it. It looks totally different. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which also is like, again, let's imagine he's not a bear for this, so we could all be on the same page about it. A relatable scene of like, your significant other is gone for a long time and you love them a lot and you trust them 100%, but like, that's not how human brains work. Like, you're always going to be like at least 0.001% worried. Like, I don't know.
Really? I'm not.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
You're saying you are? Damn.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way my brain works, I
We can
guess, where
talk
like,
about this later.
yeah, we'll take this one offline. No, I mean, you know how my brain works, Kat. Like, I contingency plan, like, not everything, but most things. Like, I always hedge when, like, even if I'm like 100% sure about a thing, I'm like, oh yeah, probably. Like, so, I mean, it's just the way my weird brain works, where like, I trust you 99.9999999 repeating to the point where it's basically 100%, but my weird, stupid brain will never give like that last point zero whatever 1%.
Uh-huh.
We can take it offline.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, this could be a seg into. I'm wondering if you guys think if Deborah is a good friend, because she seems to like be actively sabotaging Nora. I mean, yeah, with her relationship with the bear, where she actually seems happy, but like also her confidence in it, and in some cases her self confidence. But I think she might actually have Nora's best interests in mind, and she just has a bad like the presentation falls flat. So I'm just curious if you guys think Deborah's a good friend. She's the blonde one with the big ears.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Pat take this one because I think part of your interpretation of whether she's a good friend or not depends on whether you
I don't know how
how
to
much
take
bear
the
you think the
side.
bear is.
I think that, yeah, I think she has her best interests for the most part. I think it was a real dick move to invite her ex without talking to her or
Wild.
inviting
Oh, to
all
the
of her
Christmas
own,
party? Yeah.
yeah, all of her own personal friends to the party without talking to Nora about who she would like for the party. That wasn't cool. But I
Yeah, I
think
think
originally, like when you bring a literal bear to meet your friends, I think they should say, "Are you sure? Are you safe? Is he hurting you? Does he maul you at night?" Those kind of questions are important to ask.
Yeah, I mean, so she's got two best friends in the books, and when they meet the bear at a brunch, they have at first the exact same reaction of "What the? There's a bear,"
I
and then they
like
kind of
I like
diverge,
that in
and
that
Deborah,
same
the blonde one,
sequence,
is like,
the waiter is just like not even like nonplussed, doesn't even notice. The friends are like, "That's a bear," and the waiter's just like, "Cool, can I take your order?"
He's also rude to the waiter, which isn't cool.
"Oh, Deborah, yeah,
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 it's LA."
it
true.
is LA. Did you guys appreciate the background gag at all the parties where there's always like one person who's like, "Have you read this? You've got to." And the other person's like, "Oh, I will." And then it's like, "Oh, have you watched this? You've got to." "Oh, I will." "Have you listened to this?" "Oh, you've got to." Like every single
I did
party there
not
was like,
notice that.
oh, it's every party there's like one set of people. I don't think it's the same set of people every time. Could be
Did you
wrong.
guys notice this? Oh, I will.
Yeah, go back and notice it.
I don't know. Did you guys just really want to listen to Arcade Fire after you read that? I don't know why. It's weird.
I actually kind of appreciated in this how everyone, or not every, most everyone is at least a little bit flawed, right? Like we talked about how Nora has the dead end job that like she could have quit at any time and she didn't need to like have Bear in her life to realize that she should quit this shitty job. It's a good impetus to do it. Like Deborah, like we've talked about, is like a little bit selfish, but does have Nora's best interest at heart, we think. I'm forgetting the name of her other friend now, and that is bad because there's only two of them.
Yeah, that's what I was saying when you interrupted me. It was the two of them meeting bear scene. Carly.
Harley. Yeah, so like also has her flaws, but I think is basically a good person. I think the only one who comes off just like completely douchey is Ben, the ex-boyfriend guy.
That's because he is completely douchey.
Yes, but like I don't know, I appreciated that the book is full of people who are flawed but are mostly good people, such that it's not.
I don't think her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend's a good person. I think he's douchey.
No, that's the one. I think that's the exception. So I guess to circle back and actually answer your original question, I think Deborah does have her best interest at heart, but is a slightly selfish person and also a slightly jealous person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess in the intro thing she
Yeah,
says, worries she'll pick the, oh, when I'm single, she's like Velcro.
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, probably. Yeah, it also says Carly has two boyfriends and a girlfriend, so that explains why she'd be like, yeah, okay.
A bear? Sure. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
You can juggle. It's fine.
Yeah, so that scene where you meet her two best friends, I thought was really cool too. Like the way they keep clinking the glasses together of martinis as the night goes on and like it gets more and more spilled. And then like their conversations get this cubist sort of abstract look to them.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty cool.
See, I actually didn't like the cubist abstract stuff. Like I got what it was going for, and it did what it was trying to do, but it felt like it was just like doing a weird things for weird things sake thing to me.
Well, I mean, if you think about it visually, there was nothing particularly interesting happening on those, what, 6 pages? They're just like three girls at a bar talking. Like,
True,
this
yeah.
made it a lot more interesting to look at. Like, the colors were better. And it kind of like gives you the vibe of like, wow, they've just had like 5 martinis in an hour kind of deal.
Yes, it does definitely sell the effect. I was just trying to think if there's like, I don't know. I don't want to like Monday morning quarterback it. Like, is there a better way to do it? I think it was effective. Just for some reason, for me, it didn't work. I don't know. Matt, got any thoughts on cubism?
I didn't consent to it, so no, it was fine. I appreciated what they were doing.
Pat, did you have more questions near? Oh, go ahead, Pat.
I'm just gonna say Nora had very, very poor tastes in boyfriends. If like the bar for Bear is what, getting things off of a high shelf and watching television with her and cuddling,
She wants a
good Lord,
cuddler.
Nora.
Does say
Good
that.
Lord.
I think
She-
they actually have a pretty good relationship. He does a lot of things around the house for her. He got a job for her. He like is staying with her even though he needs to go into the mountains.
Yeah,
He took
I
care
actually-
of her cat when it died. I thought that was like, I mean, yeah, he's a bear, but if you just pretend he was a dude, that's a pretty wholesome relationship compared to
I
the like.
specifically wrote in my notes like he puts so much effort into that relationship, especially considering he is a bear. Like he does so much stuff to like fit in, if that makes sense. Like if you do read it as a metaphor of like it's a person in a strange land who's in a relationship with a person they like and they're like trying to fit into that person's life. Bear's doing so much to fit into Nora's life. Like basically, I mean, not becoming a completely different person, entity, whatever you want to say, but like changing a lot for sure.
No, I think it was a good relationship other than the bear in the room.
I guess the only other thing that I think we didn't hit, well, there might be two. The only other thing that we didn't hit is like I enjoyed the comic doing some of the interludes it did in the middle of the main story, like breaking away for like Cat versus Bear or like Douchebags I've Dated, or there are a couple other pages where you're
Yeah.
kind of like taking a break from the main story and you're just like expanding out a little just like slice of life moment or an idea. Like I think those worked really well and I think they expanded the story without getting in the way of the actual narrative. So just wanted to say, job well done. Liked those. Was wondering if you guys
I think
agree.
it started well too, where instead of just being like you do the background first, it's just like, yeah, here's my boyfriend, he's a bear. Anyway, this is how we met.
Yeah,
So
I
you
think
like
that-
you kind of start to like him first.
I think that's probably on purpose too, to potentially, and I know it didn't work for you, Pat, but to potentially like get people over that hump of like what's going on here. It's like
Poor choice of words, Matthew. How dare you?
it was a expressly chosen choice of words.
Oh my God.
But like they're sitting down to a fancy dinner. He's wearing like a vest and a tie. Like this is the stuff that's gonna happen to this book. Here we go. If that doesn't work for you, it's probably not for you. Sorry, Pat, it's probably not for you. I will also say we haven't snuck in discussion of would you rather meet a man in the woods or bear in the woods yet, and I feel like we probably should. It feels like it's a prerequisite for this conversation.
Okay, bring it up then. What is it?
Bringing it up. So there was that kind of, I don't know if meme is the right word, discussion going around last year.
Viral?
Yeah, viral discussion, we'll say, going around last year of like, if you're a woman, would you rather meet a man in the woods or a bear in the woods if you're just like hiking or something and you come across
It is
stranger?
a viral TikTok debate.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you, Google.
You're welcome, Matthew.
And I guess there were some pretty like layered discussions of that.
There's only one person on this podcast who can answer that, though, right?
Yeah, there is only
It's-
one person. on the
Okay, so
podcast.
it's a question posed to women of if you're hiking in the woods by yourself and you stumble upon blank, would you rather it be a man or a bear? Which, I mean, obviously it depends what kind of bear.
As we've noted.
Mm-hmm. Is he wearing a watch?
I was going to say, if it's a grizzly bear, I think I might actually go man. If it's a black bear, I would pick bear.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable choice. So, I mean, I think that's part of why this sort of weird fantasy exists, is because a lot of men suck. And I don't know, I don't exclude myself from that, if that makes sense. Like, but I think a lot of the impetus for this book was just like, hey, I'm imagining this good relationship or like extrapolating from this good relationship I did find after I dated a bunch of sucky dudes. And like, in this instance, I would rather date a bear, provided the bear fits the criteria that are maybe clearly, maybe not clearly laid out in the book. So
That's
I don't
true.
know.
Women don't walk to their cars at night with holding their keys like a shank in case a bear comes.
This is
I mean,
true.
it could also probably help with the bear.
Mm.
Depends on the bear. I don't know. So like, the other thing we didn't really talk about is that, to me at least, this is very much just like a standard rom-com, and it probably wouldn't even be notable if the bear was not a bear. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah. I think the selling point of this is all the cute pictures of bear. Like that's why you read it, right? It's the funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some like real world stuff in there. The forests, again, are burning. So, the wildland interface continues to be pushed farther into the cities. Wildland human interface. You see
Here's
more animals that you never used to.
here's a question actually: do you guys think Bear actually read her address off that magazine she left behind, or did he just end up there?
I don't know.
It's down to what's the intelligence of bear.
I mean, clearly he can read because he got
I
a
mean,
human.
it's
copy of the miniature.
insinuated. I was gonna say it's insinuated that he read Nora's address.
Yeah,
He's
the
pretty
magazine.
smart. He can be a middle manager.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
That doesn't take much.
That's true.
On the
My dog
first-
could be a middle manager. I'm
he is
grooming
the
him
middle
for it.
manager. He does it every day. On the first read, I don't know if I picked up on the fact that he was supposed to have like found her via her address. I just kind of assumed it was like happenstance that he ended up at her place.
No, he was there to return her magazines.
Yes,
Yep.
yeah, that makes more sense. But there was like that sequence, and then there's the bit near the end when Bear is hibernating and like waking up, and Ben comes to Nora's door, and she slams the door on him. And like the first 1 or 2 times I read that, I didn't entirely understand what had happened there. I think because the panel of them is so cut off in the like top of the page. But she's just slamming the door in his face. I feel like the first read I was like, what? Are they like weirdly getting back together? That makes no sense. But that's not what's happening. I was wondering
Oh,
if
you were
that
just
happened to you
confused
guys,
with
though.
that small panel.
Yeah, I think
No,
so.
I got the what you're saying. I didn't realize that he was wearing weird socks, Argyle socks with.
Oh,
Did we
yeah.
see his shoes before? I don't know.
Right? That's just like a panel to remind you, like, this guy's such a
He's a
douchebag.
douchebag, yeah.
Well, all right, guys. I think we
What do
wore
you-
ourselves out with the initial. No, Pat's got one. Go for it, Pat.
I got something.
He's got one.
Do you think the story would be stronger if Bear didn't actually like Nora says while he's hibernating that she doesn't know whether or not she will ever see Bear again, and she's coming to terms with that. Like she still appreciates the loving relationship she has, and she takes the strength from the time she spent with Bear to improve her life, right? She's becoming a better person while he's hibernating. Do you think it would have worked if Bear didn't come back? We didn't have the final scene with Nora throwing herself at Bear.
I mean, it would still work, but I think it would be less of a nice story.
Yeah, I don't think it works actually. Like, I think it straight up fails. Like, that's the rom-com arc, right? And like,
Yeah, that's the rom-com formula.
it's like, and this is it's such a standard rom-com of like, boy meets girl, boy kind of has a flaw. Will their relationship survive the flaw? The flaw is he's a bear in this instance.
Yeah, just insert different flaw. And I wouldn't
Yeah.
say it's a flaw, but anyway.
It's the
There's
I mean-
a conflict. There's a conflict.
Yeah.
Like friends and family don't approve because he's a, I don't know, big guy from Pakistan in a bear costume or whatever the thing
Too
is.
competitive. He's a man child. He has amnesia, and so you have to go on a date with him 50 times for him to remember you. That sort of thing.
Hmm.
But like that's the part of this, like that's the part of the rom-com story where like they're broken up for some reason, and like yeah, usually one of the partners
Yeah.
like kind of turns their life around and like makes things like better and like
It's
improves
the scene where
themselves.
Cameron Diaz is driving away and realizes she's learned how to cry again.
Yes, it's that. It's
Yeah.
that. Like that's what that sequence is, and like so they have to come back together at the end. Like that's like you
Yeah, and a new
gotta
cat.
close that rom-com loop, or else like it's
Cute
unsatisfying.
dumpster cat. It was really nice.
I mean, I could
And his
see
little outfit.
Nora seems very codependent. Like we see the huge string of ex-boyfriends that they lay out. Like what? There's 8,
Well,
10
she lived
of
by
them.
herself all winter.
It's LA,
Well, yeah,
and they
that's
all
what I'm.
suck. They probably didn't all last that long.
Okay, but I'm just. Don't you think it's equally powerful if she learns how to be her own person? Like she
She
takes the
does, though.
strength from.
That's
Okay.
exactly what happened when the bear went to hibernate. She's like, I'm
All
going to
right,
quit
you
my
guys
job. I'm
get to
gonna
have
start a
your
business."
opinion, and I don't get to have my opinion. That's
You get
fine.
to have
I'm
your
saying
opinion.
you're right, and she does.
I'm saying Bear didn't have to come back. That I think it could have also been as powerful. There could have been. Whatever. Let's go
I
to
don't
the
think
end of this,
I
shall
don't
we?
think I even want to say this, but that's you sound like Matt when he's like, "Yeah, Jane Eyre finally gets her stuff together, but then
Oh
she
man,
goes back
if you
to
want to argue
Russia."
about something, we can argue about Jane Eyre for the next.
No!
episode.
What a
Then,
bad
Matt,
book
you
it
can
would be
see.
if she didn't end up with Rochester at the end, though.
Oh my god, she hears a magic voice over the mountain to bring her back to a man who has abused her for the entire book, and she's like, I'm coming! I'm going back! I'm gonna take care of you forever! Even
You're
though
right.
you
She should have married
abused me."
St. John and gone and died as a missionary. Anyway, this isn't the book we're discussing.
That guy was awful too. Men suck, is what I'm saying here. That's the message of the podcast.
Wow.
Men suck, date bears.
You don't get to just blanket put that on whenever like a conflict occurs. That's not your thing to say.
That's fair, actually. So I'll leave it to you if you want to say it. Otherwise, we can move on.
I was just Googling around, and I guess a man is between the ages of 18 and 24 is 167 times more likely to kill someone than a bear.
Again, depending on the type of bear.
Yeah.
Or a Hessic mug with her dead cat on it. That's nice.
I think that's a picture of the cat while it was still alive.
Who's to say?
Yeah. The peanut tree is what the podcast fans come here for.
Actually.
I do think, Pat, there is a version of the story where Nora is just stronger for having dated Bear and they go their own way, but I think that's just I don't think that's what this story is. I think this story is so closely following the traditional rom-com arc that it would be unsatisfying if it didn't close the loop in that way. But I do get where you're coming from of like, yes, there's a different version of the story where she does her thing and he does his thing. Like maybe he decides that the human world isn't for bears. Like, but they're both like
he has that option. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of like in those last panels. You're like, I don't know, what's he gonna do?
yeah. He wakes up.
He's
and
like looking at his friends with their family, and he's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna choose city instead.
Also, do bears do black bears mate for life, or do they take multiple partners?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I think like the female kind of goes off and does her own thing with the cubs, and the males do whatever it is males do, like fight about stuff, I guess. But I don't know if they like come back to each other at the end of the season. I don't think they do.
Short answer from American Bear Association and the Google results is no. Black bear males and females come together only during breeding season.
Well, there you go. See, it even makes sense that he wouldn't come back.
No, because in this world, that's not really how they work. Like they're just a little family.
Oh,
I mean, you can see it.
it is
Those.
so convenient when rules are established to make your story make sense. That's cool.
I'll
It's
say the
however you
rules were not
interpret it.
established. It is how the story does work, though, by the text of reading the story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he shows up at the end at her apartment with a kitten and flowers and a cute little outfit that he put on for her. So he may just be the perfect man.
Awful. How
Maybe.
awful.
I really like that last panel. It's really sweet.
The one where she's just out the door and like in his stomach, yeah.
Yeah, and the flowers go flying and the kitten's like, ooh.
And then they go to Disney World. And
Yeah.
we did it.
Disneyland, probably.
Oh, that's right. It
Probably.
is California. Sorry. My bad. All right, guys. I think we discussed this book.
We did it.
If someone liked this book, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this for Pat, but Pat can figure out what he wants to recommend, I guess. He's done
I've
this
got
stuff.
recommendations. It's all good.
If someone liked this book, Kat, what would you recommend that they read or watch or listen to?
Okay. I have a few categories of recommendations. For characters who are inexplicably animals, I recommend the short story The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Is he a bug? Yes. Yes, he is a bug. For characters who are explicably animals but hang out with a human, such as in this case, I recommend Calvin and Hobbes. It is my favorite comic in the whole world, and it is, I consider, the OG of human hanging out with animal heaven adventures. For the rom-com vibes, that's actually like a more traditional comic book. Well, it's a manga. I recommend My Love Story. I think that's a run of like, what is it, Matt? 10 issues? It's not super long as manga go.
12 volumes.
It's like
from what I
18.
remember.
Yeah,
Is it
it's a
18? Yeah.
decent amount. Yeah.
That one's probably the closest to the vibes here. It's about a guy, a human guy, Pat, who's really
I've
like.
read it, Catherine. We did an episode on it. Thank
That's
you.
right. Wait,
We
did
did do
I?
an
No,
episode
you guys
on it.
did it with Cal.
Yeah, we did it without you,
Yeah,
sorry.
who's just like, he's a big guy and people think he's scary, but he's really sweet. So that one I feel like is pretty similar to this one, except, different.
My recommendations. I think My Love Story is actually a really good call, Kat. I like that. And you know what's really great about it? Takeo can give consent. That's amazing. Otherwise, it's not a comic, but The Shape of Water was a really interesting Guillermo del Toro movie about a quiet custodian lady in a secret military base who stumbles upon a sexy fish man.
He just loves eggs.
He does. It's actually a really good movie. I like that one. Otherwise, there's a cute animated series called Tuca and Birdie. If you're a fan of the BoJack Horseman kind of esque world, where there's actually, I think in Tuca and Birdie they're all animals, but it's really cute. It's a slice of life where they're dealing with like relationships and work drama and that kind of stuff. So yeah, animals that have human intelligence and therefore can give consent. It's
I
beautiful.
feel like that's a very, anthropocentric view. Their intelligence isn't, it's just different.
That animals can't give consent.
Humans are animals.
I'm gonna take Aldo away from you.
I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying, when you belittle the intelligence of other animals, you're not giving them enough credit. I'm not talking about this in the way that you are framing it, but just in general, they're not little automatons. They can make their own decisions and they have emotions.
I'm not debating. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. That's not what
Just
I'm talking about.
When you say human intelligence, the standard has been set.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying.
No, it's
Catherine.
just different. Anyway.
I was also going to recommend My Love Story, so people should read it. That's a 3 out of 3 recommendation. But since we've already recommended it 3 times, I feel pressured into offering another recommendation. So I will just say read Sex Criminals. Sex Criminals is great.
Why?
Why is it great?
No, not why, but why is that your recommendation for this book?
It's also
Because of the
There
sex.
is nothing explicitly sexual in this book, so I am
No.
curious why that book.
I think the relationships in that book are really strong and interesting, kind of in a way that the relationships are, again, depending on who you are, strong and interesting in this book also. And I think it also has elements of absurdism to it that this book definitely has.
Yes, it does. I think it does.
I'm just, again, this is how my brain works, hedging. Anyway.
Oh, Sex Criminals might be my favorite comic series. It's so good.
Yeah, read Sex Criminals. It's great. All right, guys, we got through that one. I think that is going to do it for this month's discussion of My Boyfriend is a Bear. As always, if you want to get in touch with Pat or me, you can email us at waitingonthetrade@gmail.com. You can also find more comics-related goodness at mattreadscomics.com. Catherine, thank you for coming on and bringing this book to us. I do think we had a very interesting and lively discussion, and I appreciate that.